Hi students, today we are doing more questions on moments and on pressure. So moments, I'd like to go through this type of questions which is involving gear. So quite commonly seen in exams. So let's go, okay? Questions are quite long. Gears are wheel with tooth edges that rotate about axle. Okay, so this figure shows how the teeth of one gear fits into the teeth of another gear, allowing one gear to rotate the other. Okay, through the interlocking, one gear can turn another in opposite directions. So if one gear go clockwise, the gear wheel in contact will go anti-clockwise each other. The force acting on the teeth are identical for both gears in contact. Okay, finally, that's something that we can underline, we can use. Okay, sometimes we need all this force equal for both sides. Okay, for both gears. Moments can be different. Okay, moments can be different because of course moment is equals to force times distance, right? When the force is the same, the distance is not the same. So therefore, the moment can be different. And you can see that the distance is the radius. Okay, so the force either pushing it this way or pushing it this way, it is perpendicular to the radius. So the distance for gears, okay, is usually the radius. Okay, so a gear has radius 0.2 meter and is turned by another gear with 0.1 meter. Given that the moment of the smaller gear is 40 Newton meter, okay, which one is the smaller one? This one, right? Okay, find the force exerted by the smaller gear. Okay, so moment is equals to F times D. Okay, so we have the moment, which is 40 Newton meter. We don't have the force. And the smaller perpendicular distance is 0.1. Use your calculator and you will be able to get, so 40 divided by 0.1. So the force is 400 Newton. All right. It's quite easy. That's why it's 1 mark and it has nothing got to do with this formula yet. Okay. The moment produced by the larger gear. So now we have moment can be different, right? Because the distance can be different. So it's only also 1 mark, which I believe you will be able to get it. Moment is still equals to force times distance. The force is the same. That's why underline. Sometimes the passage is very long, but when you read something like, oh, what force equals to what force or constant velocity, etc., these are important information, okay? So the force is 400 Newton times 0.2. So the answer is 80 Newton meter. All right, so that's it for part A. Now, the figure, another figure shows this, okay? It's a bicycle, and then they show you a crank length R1. So basically just take note where is R1, okay? It's this length, okay? And then they have they is connected to this small radius, okay, which is here. Okay, so this is R1, all right? So actually the R1 is here, all right? So do take note of this. Let me use the zoom annotation. So the R1 is actually here, okay, which is the same thing. Now, where is this is one gear, this is another gear. Take note where is the small R1, the radius, okay, which is here. Okay, now this one is the other smaller radius, which is here. Okay, take note where is R2, okay, and let's read on, okay. The bicycle is pedaled with a force that produces a moment, okay, so this one is something that they give us. Basically, let's take a look, okay? This force times this distance, okay, creates a moment which is the same, equals to the same moment, okay? It's the same turning force, okay? It's unlike part A whereby the moment can be different, okay? It's the same as this R1, okay, which is this distance times this tension, okay, which is a force. Now, we have to show that, okay, this force of the bike can be expressed as this tension times R2, okay, force of the bike here, okay, and we are talking about here R2 and then radius R2. So read the question, okay, and see we are actually changing from here to here. Okay, tension times R2 is actually equals to this, the same, okay, the force of the bike, okay, times this big R2. Okay, so when you cross over, that means the force bike is actually equals to tension times R2 over this, and here we go. So you can put a times here, and then you can write shown. Okay, so this is to show you that you're able to apply this gear, what is happening here, to the gear behind. Okay, now with the information given, deduce the relationship between this force of the bike. And what is this? This is the total resistive force. They are traveling at constant speed. So basically, what does it mean when it's traveling at constant speed? The forces are balanced, right? A is equals to 0. Resultant force is equals to 0. So the forces are balanced. Okay, balanced forces. Okay, so balanced forces, that means F bite will be equals to the F total resisting force. Okay, so this is the relationship. All right, so this is for your B part 2, and you have gotten it correct. Okay, now let's go and take a look at 3. What did they say about 3? It's given that R1 is equals to 0.2 and R2 is equals to 0.33, and the number of teeth are this and this respectively. Okay, so remember the number of teeth, we are using this, okay, the radius, okay, the ratio are the same, right? Okay, and the number of teeth is this. By applying the principle of moments or otherwise, calculate the ratio, okay, calculate the ratio of the force, this one, okay, the force that you press on the pedal over the total resistive force. So if you think of this and this, right, it's quite hard to link, okay? So basically, we have to go and use the formula that they have given us, okay? So let's start with this. Okay, let's start with F R1 times R1, which is here, okay, which is equals to R1 times tension. Force bike times R2, which just now we have, okay, the other one behind, is actually equals to R2, okay, times tension, okay? So since we have two equations, okay, let's divide them so that we can get the ratio of radius 1 over radius 2. Okay, so radius 1 over radius 2, you actually have force R1 over bite force R2. And we know that bite force is actually equals to tension. We can finally put in the force tension. So let me write here, R1, R2. Now we have the force over the tension, and then we have R1 over R2 here. Now, basically, now what we are trying to do is making the subject, okay, or mathematics manipulation to get this ratio. So put here, so R1 over R2, you have it, and then this one you cross multiply, becomes R2 over R1, okay? And then what do we have to do? We have to put in all the information that we are given, okay? Which is 48, and this is actually 24, and this is 0.33, and we have 0.20. Okay, you press the calculator, you will have, and it will be equals to 3.3 over 1. Okay, so the answer will be 3.3. So basically, the number of teeth, the ratio, the number of teeth of 1 over the number of teeth of 2 is actually same ratio as the ratio of the radius gear 1 over radius gear 2. So that's why you can actually, okay, put the 48 over 24 here. This one is given by the question, and then you just press in the calculator, and we will be able to get this. We'll be able to get 3.3. Okay. Now we are going to move on to our pressure questions. Okay, liquid pressure. Here we go. The pressure, okay, of the liquid is measured. Okay, so using a pressure gauge. So the fluid pushes against a spring, and then the change in the length is indicated by a pointer. Okay, let's read for clues. Okay, many pressure gauge, such as tire gauge and the gauge on air tanks, measure the gauge pressure. Okay, it measures the gauge pressure, not the absolute pressure. Okay, so let's move on, okay, and you will realize, so what is the difference, right? So the gauge pressure is actually, okay, PG, and it is the absolute pressure, okay, minus 1 atm. So basically, if you want to get the absolute pressure, okay, of, let's say, the gas, okay, is actually the gauge pressure plus 1 atm, right? Okay, the pressure a gauge of an underwater tank with 60 kilopascal. Okay, given that the atmospheric pressure is 1 atm and the density of water is this, determine the depth that the gas tank is at. Okay, so always remember when they call for depth, okay, it is always, and they tell you the density of water. Okay, so we are looking at pressure, we are looking at H rho G. Okay, because then this formula we can get to use the density, and also they ask us what's the depth. Okay, now when they tell you pressure is 1 atm, please remember that to convert it is 10100 0 kilopascal. Okay, 101 kilopascal. Okay, so 101,000 pascal. Okay, so let's go to get the depth. Okay, so the pressure of the gauge, this one, okay, the pressure of the gauge, it reached 60 kilopascal. So it's equals to the atmospheric pressure plus the pressure of the water on top of it, plus this. Okay, so just now, we mentioned that the absolute pressure, which is the pressure of where this gas tank is at, is actually, you bring it over the pressure of the gauge, okay, plus 1 atm. Okay, so this thing is actually equals to, hey, okay, the pressure of this one, 1 atm, plus the pressure of the gauge. Okay, so you can say that the pressure of the gauge is actually equals to H rho G, because these two is the same, right? Okay, so the pressure of the gauge is actually equals to, it measures 60 kilo, and I have a depth that I don't know, and this is 1000, and this is 10. Okay, so the answer, H is actually equals to 6 meters. Okay, make use of what is given to us. And then, of course, this concept is important, which is the pressure of where the object is at is always the atmospheric pressure, and then plus the depth of water, okay, or the depth of liquid. Now, let's go to B. The pressure in a gas container is measured with a mercury barometer, and then, okay, they tell you that this is 36.2. So taking a look at this, you will realize that the gas pressure is actually higher than the atmospheric pressure because it's able to push it. You see, this is lower, right? Lower is higher pressure. Lower is higher pressure. Just take note that imagine you are going to go diving. The lower you are, the higher the pressure. Okay, so atmospheric pressure is 141,000, okay, pascal. Okay, so what is the gas pressure in kilopascal? Okay, now this one I can change it to kilopascal then. Okay, so the pressure of the gas is actually equals to here, right? The pressure of the gas is here. I always ask my student to do the marking, which is equals to here, same. So it's equals to the pressure of the atmosphere and the pressure due to the liquid here, that is mercury. So I have 101 kilopascal plus, this one you have to convert it to meter. So 0.32 meter bracket. Density is 13600, and then G. Okay, then you calculate everything. Let's press the calculator. You get 150,232 pascal, which is 150 kilopascal. Okay. The reading of a meter gauge. Oh, okay, because it's the same. Is if let's say the on part the part A, the pressure gauge. Okay, the reading of the pressure gauge. Okay, if it is attached to this gas, now pressure of the gauge is actually equals to the absolute pressure, okay, that is calculated, okay, minus 1 atm. Okay, now the absolute pressure will be the one calculated, which is 150,232, and then 1 atm is 101,000. Okay, so you calculate, you will get 49,232 pascal, and it's 49 kilopascal. All right, so make use of this formula. Okay, the absolute pressure is the pressure of the gas. So figure 6.9 shows a YouTube manometer filled with mercury. So they want to measure the pressure of the gas stored in the sphere, etc. Okay, so you see this question very good. Take atmospheric pressure to be 101 kilopascal, and then the density is 136. Deduce the pressure at this. Oh, this is quite okay, right? Because it's the same level. So if it is the same level, so this one is the pressure of the atmosphere. So it's the same level. So the pressure of the unknown gas is equals to there, which is equals to 101 kilopascal, and you will get the 1 mark. The gas is actually heated, then the mercury in the outer arm actually raises by 5 mm. Calculate the difference between the pressure of the gas and the atmospheric pressure. The change in level is actually the difference in the pressure, which is due to height density times gravity. Height, OG, the height, we have to do 5 times 10 to the power of minus 3, convert it to meter, and then the density is 13600 and then 10, and we will be able to get 680 pascal. Okay, so 680 pascal is the answer. Now, let's move to the bottom one. Figure 6.1 show an inverted U-shaped manometer to measure the pressure. Difference is measuring the pressure difference between the two pipes. Okay, so what is the pressure difference? It's actually the height. Now, we have to know that this point is the pressure of P. Okay, as you go up, the pressure get lesser and lesser. Now, this point, okay, is the pressure of Q. Okay, so let's take a common level so that we can equate this pressure to this pressure. Okay, then we can calculate the pressure difference between pressure of P minus pressure of Q. Okay, so we will always take the highest one because we want to make sure that we cover all the pressure caused by any liquid. So let's say here we put P prime, then here we put Q prime. And at the back of our head, we must know that, okay, P prime equals to Q prime. The pressure at P prime here equals to the pressure at Q prime. So let's do the left-hand side first. So P1 is actually here, right? We have pressure of P, then you move up. Move up here is 200 times 10 to the power of minus 3. And then this one is the density of oil, and then times 10. And then I still have to minus here. There's a gap of 80 of air. So I minus 80 times 10 to the power of minus 3. Density of air, and then 10. Okay, so this one settled. Now what about Q? So Q side here, this one is pressure of Q. And then the whole thing is just 380 times 10 to the power of minus 3. And then this whole thing is water, right? Density of water, and then 10. Yep, that's it. Then we equate P equals to Q, right? So P pressure minus PQ. You use this side equals to this side. Please press the calculator. You will be able to get 380 times 10 to the power of minus 3. And then this is the density of water, which is 1000, okay, times 10. Then you will have minus 200 times 10 to the power of minus 3. And we have density of oil. Where's my density of oil, which is 800 times 10. And then you have to minus 80 times 10 to the power of 3. And that is the density of air, which is, where's my air? 1.16 and then 10, okay? And then you press the calculator, we will be able to get 3800 minus 1600 minus 0.928, and we will be able to get 2200 pascal. All right, so this is the answer. Try after listening to the solution, do it on your own again, and then see whether you can get the answer. And if you do, good job.